Hello all, welcome to my channel Journey with Some. Today I'm going to talk about how we can create a mean plot using R. So this what I'm showing the graph, we're going to learn how we can develop this graph and what kind of parameters we are needed and how we can build in the R. We have the data called gluc, so which have the patient id with visit and with the parameter and the results it has been collected. So now how we have to plot, we need to group by with visit and with the male and female gender, and we want to calculate the glucose value of this one. Okay, so let's summarize the data now. So we will summarize the data here and we will call the glucose 1 and we will group by the functions what we have to do visit wise. Okay, so keep the visit, and the one more factor is gender. And once you do it, just summarize the function using the summarize function and want to calculate how many visits having the number of participants here. Okay, so let's give the patient id just to reevaluate what we have done in the right way, and we will calculate the mean and we'll use the mean function and what we have to do. And instead of using this one, we will use the result part of each participant per visit. So let's use this results value here, and you can also see the standard errors here. So let's use this as standard deviation and I will call the SD and I'll call the results again, and I will ungroup this once it is done. Okay, let's execute this one. Okay, so we having some errors. Let's execute. Now we cannot see any kind of error. So let's open the summarized data. For each visit, the female and the male category has been calculated, and the mean and the standard deviation, just to reevaluate how our data looks like with the main data what we have. So let's go to the glucose one. We can see the V1 and the female participants have two. So let's filter this V1 here. And how many females are there here? If you see the female, there are three participants here. Okay, but as we are using the distinct, it's calculating only the distinct value, the unique value. So here, even though 103 have two glucose values for V1, but it should count as a one participant, and 106 has been single, so it's already having a distinct or unique value here. So in this way, just reevaluate once you summarize the data before we passing into a graph. So in the same way, we will reevaluate for a male also. So let's click the male one, and if you see here, V1 have one participant, 101 and 104 also one. So this calculation has been correct. So in the same way, go for some more participants and reevaluate your data. So now our code is correct, how we are evaluating, and now we will call the plot function and we will call the ggplot package here. So before we going into it, I also imported the ggplot to library, which helps us to create a visuals here. So if it is not installed, just check over in the packages if it's not installed. So better always check whenever you have an error whether you have this package in your environment or not. It's a good practice when you write this kind of codes. So let's go for the code now, and we will call the data. What we're calling the data is summarize data. Just copy this one. The simple code I will tell you. So we have x-axis here, right? So in the x-axis what we have the visit. Okay, so let's call the visit now. In the y value, so we have the glucose value here. Let's go back to the one. So in the y-axis, we need to plot the mean of this glucose value. So let's go this one. And one more thing. Here we can distinguish the colors here, right? So how we can define the two colors will tell you that one is a male and other one is a female one. So let's go for this one, gender, and we can define how we can plot with the colors. Okay, so give the plus. And now again one more thing. So here also we can see one horizontal long dash at glucose of 10th visit. Okay, at 10 when the glucose range is 10. So how we can do this one? So we can write the geom H line, so horizontal line, and we call this as a y-intercept. AES is equal to y-intercept, and we call them at as a 10, and we give the line type here is equal to long dash. And one more thing now. So now we want to plot this mean plot here, right? So we will write the geom line, so which will tell you the line of the mean plot. Okay, so this is done. Okay, so this is done, and we can see the plots here, the error bars. So now how we can plot the error bars here? So let's write the geom error bar, and we call as like the minimum and the maximum of your mean with the standard deviation, and write call AES, and y minimum is equal to mean minus standard deviation, and y max is we will give as mean plus standard deviation. And I also define the width over here equal to zero point 0.2 and give the plus, and let's execute. So we can see some missing so in this particular argument. So let's evaluate. Okay, so I have missed this aesthetic one, and let's execute this. Okay, still it's showing an error. Okay, I have not closed this one in the right way. Let's execute. Yes, so we can see the error bar is plotted here, right? And now the long dash is there, error bar is there, and gender is also there, but you can see the genders are showing in a unique colors. Okay, but you can differentiate the male and female, so that we will do right now. And we'll give the and also the mean headline, like the labels how we are defining now. And we will give this x continuous how we were giving it. Okay, and we want to define the visits as your label for x-axis, and you also want to label your y-axis now. And I will write it as a glucose, and the unit of this particular values are millimole per liter. And let's execute again. So it's showing it's a wrong one. So why? Okay, so because whenever you plot on x-axis, make sure that you pass a numeric value, not um, a character value, or a like it should not be a character value at all. It should be exactly a numeric value. So let's change this one now as a visit n. So the visit n is your integer value. So when you execute it, you can see this one, and you summarize the data also, it's showing the numeric value of this what is there in the data. So now the mean plot is plotted here. Okay, all fine now. Okay, so now we also see that the mean plot is not coming right, and the it's getting differentiated as male and female, but we can see only one gender, no color differentiation. So what we can do, we can write like a scale and the color continuous. Okay, so now we will define the values how we want to define here. So in gender, if you go here, you can see the male and female. So we will define per each gender now. So we give the values is equal to, and we will write like female We will define some colors here according to what we want, and we will write it as a male and define the colors. So I have in my notepad, I want to specify these colors. So based on your color palette, so always define what you want. So this is the colors which I would like to define here. So whenever you give a colors this code, make sure that you keep it a slash over here, otherwise it doesn't execute. So let's execute this one now. So once you execute it, it's showing that then unused arguments. So what unused argument we have given? Yeah, so instead of writing a continuous, it should be a manual one. So it will tell you, you can define the colors you want. So once you execute it, there is no differentiation here. Yeah, it might be there because we have written this gender in quotations. Let's execute this. Yeah, I think now it's working. So when you zoom in, so this is what you can see, the mean plot for a glucose per visit wise, and you might not know how many participants are, right? So once you want to do that one, so let's execute that also. I will keep the number of participants here, okay, the number, and we will give the glucose 1 data, and we will summarize the data here, and we will use the paste function, and we'll give this n is equal to, and we'll call the n distinct to distinct how many number of patient IDs are here. So how we can keep over here in this, in the above the gender. So now what we have one more function called labs, and we have to call this color, and this one the subject what we have created the function here. And when you execute it, you can see the number will be your 6 participants. So reevaluate it. Is it right or wrong? So now if you see here, the number of participants is like 101, 102, 103, 4, 5, 6. So there are total 6. So right now it's giving the right number. So in this way, always good to reevaluate. Ask, also put your code in the chat GPT or copilot, and it also asks you to debug. So let's do that one, okay? And this is how you can create a good visuals in a good way. In some cases, the stakeholders might ask, I need a spaghetti plot to check the level of each participant data in this. So let's comment this error bar here and use this patient ID also to check the evaluation of each glucose in this particular visit. And we'll write the as a tick, and we will use the group by and the patient ID, and that's it. Just click on, and you can see the level of each participant. Maybe we will zoom this graph, so you can see the level of each participant. So totally it should be 6 lines you should see. There is one line, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So totally 6 lines. So you can see how the level of this glucose. So in this way, you can use the ggplot extensively when you create this kind of visuals in an efficient way when you want to evaluate your data. And hope you have learned a good topic today, and thanks for watching and stay tuned.